The city of Buffalo paid an employee more than $500,000 over the last 7 years, even though she was not working. Jill Repman, formerly known as Jill Parisi, was put on administrative leave back in 2016 after the city accused her of tampering with the payroll in order to pad her paycheck. Repman was called back to work recently, but our partners at Investigative Post have been trying to get some answers about her case. So joining us with the latest on the situation is Jeff Kelly from Investigative Post. Thanks for being here. There's a lot to unpack in this story. I read the online version. There is a lot there. But this all started with the accusation that Repman was padding her paycheck. So did anything ever come of that?
No, and that's where the story begins.
7 years ago.
7.5 years ago,
Oh.
She was accused of tampering with the fire department's payroll to her own benefit. Ordinarily, this would have gone to some sort of arbitration. She was brought up on disciplinary charges, but instead, nothing happened, and the city simply kept paying her.
Wow. So Buffalo Common Council member Mitch Nowakowski called this case maddening recently. Here's what he had to say.
It's gravely concerning and really maddening. I mean, this is an erosion of public trust from entities that are charged to be stewards of city taxpayer dollars. And a large part of it is the fact of 7.5 years. And unions, whether they're in state or local governments, oftentimes when someone is put on administrative leave, the matter is usually arbitrated or charges are brought up against, and it's usually resolved in a timely manner. There's nothing timely about 7.5 years.
And with that being said, there are ways that this is supposed to be dealt with. There was supposed to be a disciplinary hearing on her case. Is it possible that this was a personnel matter, so they're just saying, oh, it's all confidential, and that the city would not be allowed to answer questions about this because they can just say it's an HR issue?
Well, what I'm told by the city's law department is that there's no record of any arbitration ever taking place, which is to say that there are no documents to provide.
And you've, I'd imagine, filled out freedom of information requests for this. Lots of them, probably.
I have just one. I just sought Repman's entire personnel record. I have not yet heard, the FOIA request to the city has not yet been acknowledged, let alone responded to.
Okay, so you point out that nobody in your story from the city, the union, the mayor's office was able to explain to you why she was out for so long and still being paid. What about Repman herself? You tracked down where she is. She's back at work at City Hall, even though she had this other job apparently in the private sector. Did she have anything to say to you about all this?
She did not. I reached out to her every way I could find through the company, the private company
Yep.
she works for, a healthcare company, which confirmed that she worked there, has worked there since 2017, works mostly from home, I'm told. But she did not respond to any inquiries, and neither did anybody else. Nobody in City Hall, with the exception of Councilmember Nowakowski, would respond to my inquiries at all. I was told to file a Freedom of Information Act just to learn whether or not she was employed by the city that has been paying her every 2 weeks for the last 7.5 years.
This whole time, our taxpayer dollars. This story also involves you slipping notes under doors, finding people coming off of elevators. So I encourage everybody to read it at investigativepost.org, right?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Jeff Kelly, thank you for being here tonight.